Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to RoboMania 7 featuring Splatoon vs Sunrise. My name is BORN Soy and we have 5 fights left on this entire fight card, all leading up to the main event tonight. Of course, the main event is going to be between Splatoon and Sunrise. The ranking is 12 versus 13. This fight is absolutely going to be amazing. Two robots that absolutely have not lost a single second of their fight so far, and they are going head to head. Both robots are also known to be really good at their wedge games, Sunrise being a complete wedge, while Splatoon has those 4 wedges up front, the wedgelets that really get underneath every robot that is fought against. I'm expecting a very high-paced brawl for this fight, or maybe even a technical kind of war going on. For our co-main event, we have Airborne taking on Berserker, the 6 versus 7 rank. Now let me tell you, both of these robots, they might be overranked right now, but with a win tonight, it's going to move them up in the top 5, and the next fight for either one of these robots, whoever wins, is going to have a very tough challenge ahead of them. But in RoboMania, you cannot look forward, you have to look at the matchup you have currently. And Airborne and Berserker are fighting. The winner will move on into the top 5 most likely. Before that, we have a potential fight of the night on paper with Serpiente taking on Sharkbait 2haha. Serpiente is coming in as the number 11 ranked robot, while Sharkbait got dropped out a couple weeks ago from the top 15. However, both robots, in my opinion, with a couple more fights under their belt, they're both going to be sitting pretty in that top 15 in the future. But tonight's matchup is huge for either robot. Both robots are 1-1, and both robots have potential fight of the nights already. Sharkbait has a performance of the night against Scary Harry, while Serpiente is looking absolutely amazing. I think both of its fights so far have been fight of the night. Before that, we have Sin taking on Ventura in a matchup that is going to be really interesting. 2 drum spinners are coming together. Sin being from the Halloween event, looking really good. A completely new design, however, so it's going to be very interesting to see how this robot will perform today. And it is taking on Ventura. Ventura has a lot of power. This robot looked amazing going up against Juggernaut. It completely ragdolled Juggernaut across the arena multiple times. So this fight is going to be absolutely insane. And to start everything off tonight, we have Titan taking on Hermes MK1. Both robots are 1-0. Both robots coming off of a pretty impressive victory in their debut in RoboMania. This is a huge step for whoever wins this fight to move on to 2-0, while the loser is going to be dropping to 1-1. This fight is very important for both robots. If you guys were here for the preliminary fights, then you know what happened, but for those who weren't, there were some very interesting fights that happened today. I must say that I was hyping up 2 fights in this preliminary fight card that really stood out to me. C418 versus Jedi Penguin was a pretty interesting matchup. Also, I pointed out Mesa versus Duck No. Both of these fights ended up being complete one-sided affairs, but for C418 and Duck No, they really stood out to me with powerful victories. And another robot that really stood out to me making its debut tonight was Hex. This robot has no weapons on it. It is a wedge ramming robot, and it looked fantastic in its performance. Its drive looked absolutely powerful, while it just completely slammed Jonathan over and over again into the wall. It actually ended up burning out one of its motors for the weapon. Hex took a unanimous decision victory over Jonathan, and I think that Hex needs to be talked about because that robot looked really good in its performance. Taking a look at the rankings that changed from last week's episode, we have a couple of new things that have changed. Now, this is the first time in RoboMania history that not a single robot has dropped out of the top 15 or a robot has entered the top 15 for a new time. All of these top 15 robots stayed the same, but the positions changed a little bit. We have to look at Nuts and Bolts moving up to the number 4 rank. It is in the top 5 now, just behind Werewolf, Gallo, and Garuda. Another big shock to me was LAOG making it in the top 10 with a victory in the last episode. Other than that, pretty much everything stayed the same, but after today's episode, I can almost guarantee you that a bunch of things are going to change in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's jump into our first fight of the night. For our first fight of the night, we have two top-tier prospects coming together. With both Titan and Hermes coming off of a victory in their debuts, only one robot can leave today with a victory. Here we go for our first fight of the night. This is going to be a matchup between two robots that have not lost yet. This is Titan taking on Hermes MK1. Both robots are pretty evenly matched, and I am very, very excited for this. Fighting out of the red square, we have Hermes MK1 defeating Little Jimmy in its previous fight by decision. It didn't look fantastic, but it managed to get the job done. It didn't do a lot of damage, so I'm curious to see if Hermes can do what it can take tonight. It will be going up against a very powerful robot by the name of Titan. This robot defeated Impact via a controversial victory. They both got stuck, but let's see if that happens again tonight. 3, 2, 1. Let our first matchup begin. Titan versus Hermes MK1. And they seem to immediately be bouncing off each other. Titan makes its way down to Hermes' box. And now they are both meeting in the middle of the arena, it seems, both bouncing off of each other. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of bite going on between either robot. So, I'm kind of curious to see how this fight's going to progress throughout the entirety. But for right now, it just seems like both robots are just trying to stay square with each other. Neither one of them wants to give up their backs where their glaring weaknesses are, with Titan having that wedge up front and Hermes not having anything in the back besides some wheel guards. They're both just bouncing off each other in the middle of the arena right now. This fight is huge for either robot. They can possibly, I don't think they will personally, but with a win tonight, either one of these robots can make a case for being in that top 15, or at least very close to being in that top 15, at least having an opponent in the future. Oh, a huge hit. I don't know who that was by, but both robots go flying. And now they continue to bounce off each other in the middle. But both robots, like I said, with a win tonight, their next opponent could be in the top 15. So it's very important to see what's going to happen. We're halfway done with this fight. A huge hit by Titan right there actually gets behind Hermes. And it seems like Hermes is now put into the corner of the arena. Something has flown off of somebody. I think that Hermes' wheel is gone. I believe that's Hermes' wheel. We don't have a good angle right now, but yes, the wheel is gone from Hermes. So now Hermes is working with one wheel now. I mean, just the tire is gone. So it still has the actual rim, but the tire is gone. It can still move properly, but it's pretty much dealing with one wheel now. And Titan is now getting around the corners much easier. Goes flying off the back wedge of Hermes, but now back in the middle of the arena. We have under a minute left in this fight. Not as intriguing as I thought it would be, but another wheel has come off of Hermes, and now this robot has no tires left, just the rims, just the steel casing underneath the tires. This robot's going to be sliding around now, but I think it could still move. It's hard to tell, but Titan is now completely taking control of this fight. 20 seconds left, and it seems like Hermes is now officially getting chewed up on the sides. It doesn't have the movement to be driving around currently. And that is not a good sign for Hermes. 10 seconds left, and this looks like it's going to a decision. A very interesting fight goes to the judges. You know, I really thought that this fight would be way more chaotic, but a technical fight done by Titan they were bouncing around each other for the majority of this fight. Just going weapon on weapon, just bouncing off, you know, not doing anything significant. But then Titan ended up getting that one shot that just ended up hitting off the tire of Hermes. And now, look at that, getting around the sides of Hermes. And I think Titan won this fight, but we are going to be going to the judges to see who wins this fight. Very curious to see who wins this. While we wait for the judges to figure out who won this fight, let's take a look at the statistics of this fight. Now this fight was very weird, alright? There was not a lot of action done by either robot. They were just bouncing off each other the entirety of the fight. Now with bouncing off each other means, look at the totals of strikes. There's just way too many to count. It seems like Titan doubled almost, actually more than doubled, what Hermes MK1 had for strikes, and also had 3 significant strikes while tearing off multiple wheels. It seems like this fight is going to be in favor of Titan, but who knows what the judges saw when the fight was live, so let's see who won that fight. Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 minutes, we go to the judges' scorecards for their decision. All 3 judges scored this contest 30-27 for the winner by unanimous decision, Titan. After a unanimous decision victory, Titan is now 2-0. It wasn't a fantastic fight, but congratulations to Titan for the win. It just, something about that fight, they were just bouncing off each other the entirety of that fight. It was not entertaining in my opinion, but Titan got the job done, while Hermes, unfortunate ending, it got the wheels ripped off, and it seemed like that was the deciding factor for the judges. I can definitely see both robots, especially Hermes, rebounding, while Titan is going to be probably fighting a top 15 in the future. I'm not quite sure, but very interesting fight, and congratulations to Titan for moving on to 2-0. Coming up next, 2 drum spinners collide in a huge matchup that will settle someone's future. The Halloween event 3rd place winner, Sin, will have a tough matchup against one of the most powerful strikers in the league, Ventura. And here we go for our second fight of the night. This is going to be Sin taking on Ventura. This robot fight is going to be absolutely insane. 2 drum spinners coming together. The odds are slightly in favor of Sin, but fighting out of the red square, we have Ventura. This robot completely knocked around Juggernaut in its previous fight, eventually leading it to go out of the arena. But here we go. Ventura now has a very tough opponent coming up against it by the name of Sin, a completely new design robot, and it hit 3rd place in the Halloween event. Defeated Blood Spangled Banner for that 3rd place, and let's see how this new configuration works out for Sin. 3, 2, 1, let this matchup begin. Sin versus Ventura, and immediately Ventura getting some good shots off on Sin, but now Sin is squaring up with Ventura. I'm very excited for this matchup. Both robots very promising. A huge hit by both robots, and now Ventura getting pieced apart. Sin upside down, however, but it can self-right whenever, and both robots are being aggressive. Sin, oh my goodness, the wedge of Sin goes flying off courtesy to Ventura, and now Ventura is upside down getting chewed apart, and a wheel has come off of Ventura. Some damage being done, and now a countdown has begun. It is moving around a little bit. Can it get out of it? Sin is dancing in the corner. 3 seconds left. 2, 1, 0. This fight is over. Even with a little bit of movement by Ventura, that is considered a technical knockout. The timer hit 0. There was not enough movement by Ventura. So with that being said, Sin, winner by TKO. A back and forth fight to start out within that first 30 seconds. A lot of action by both robots. Honestly, sad to see Ventura lose like that, but the wheels were just coming off of Ventura in the whole fight. And pieces and pieces. A good shot. That was technically the knockout shot right there by Sin, which ended up leaving Ventura not able to move properly, and Sin winning. What an interesting fight that Sin just won. With the wheels being ripped off of Ventura. Ventura was still trying to move. However, it could not do it. Sin now moves on to 4-1. Possibly moving on into that top 15 ranking. I could definitely see that happening just because Sin got 3rd place in the Halloween event. It lost to the Doctor, the current champion, and that's its only loss. I'm very curious to see what's going to happen next with Sin because what an interesting robot to watch. It's very chaotic and I just love to see it. A huge congratulations to Sin and for Ventura. An unfortunate loss. It was only under a minute. That fight was 58 seconds. But I can 100% see Ventura rebounding. It has the power. It just maybe might need to protect those wheels just a little bit more in the future fights. But we're going to have to see what happens with Ventura in the future. But for Sin, a huge congratulations. With a possible fight of the night on paper matchup ahead of us, Serpiente risks a top 15 rank against a robot that has always been thought of a top talent. Both robots are expecting a brawl with only one robot leaving here tonight. Here we go. I honestly think this could be a fight of the night and it could possibly be a main event in the future. This is Serpiente taking on Sharkbait 2 haha. Both robots 1-1. The odds are in slight favor of Serpiente, but fighting out of the red square we have Sharkbait 2 haha. Defeating Scary Harry by knockout in its previous fight. It looked absolutely amazing, and it's going to be trying to ride that momentum that it currently has from the previous fight. But standing in its way is Serpiente, a robot that has a fight of the night under its hands. It has a main event under its hands. It has fought top tier talent already. So let's see if Serpiente can keep that going and win tonight. 3, 2, 1. I can't wait for this matchup. Serpiente, Sharkbait, 2 haha, going head to head immediately, both robots. A bunch of stuff has come off of both robots. A part of the chassis has come off of Sharkbait, and now Serpiente with that new design, chipping off multiple pieces of Sharkbait, getting around to the side wheels, and both robots flipped upside down multiple times. Sharkbait has to get around that big wedge up front of Serpiente, has to go for those wheels, and a huge shot by, I think, both robots right there. And Sharkbait is now trying its best, gets flipped over, getting hit from the side. That is the one thing that Sharkbait needs to watch out for, getting hit from the side. It needs to stay squared with Serpiente, trying to go for the wheels right now, but giving up its side. And Serpiente getting some good shots in, completely chewing off multiple pieces of Sharkbait in the process. Serpiente is pinning against the corner, trying just to keep that aggression going for the entirety of the fight. And it seems like right now Sharkbait is playing the defensive game, the countering game. While it seems like Serpiente is just trying to stay aggressive, getting caught a little bit with a bunch of wheel parts missing. More pieces are coming off of Serpiente, but Serpiente is now staying forward, continue to drive. A huge hit by Serpiente sends Sharkbait in the air. They're both squaring up in the middle, and a huge shot again by Serpiente. Sharkbait is trying its best to stay square with this robot, but it is such an aggressive robot that it's hard to do so, especially with that wedge that it has and with the power of that weapon. Sharkbait's trying to get around, gives up its side once again. That might be the story. A good shot right there by Sharkbait, getting underneath now. Back and forth action, and now Sharkbait is pinned up, getting flung around, going to the other side of the arena. We have under a minute left in this fight, and we might be going to a judge's decision, but both robots are capable of finishing that fight whenever possible. They both seem to be taking a little bit of a breather. I don't blame them at this point. This has been non-stop action for the entirety of the fight. Sharkbait upside down, giving up the side once again. You cannot do that against Serpiente, especially if you're Sharkbait. A huge hit by Sharkbait, however, hits off, I think, a part of the wheels, sends Serpiente almost upside down. 10 seconds almost left in this fight. And it looks like we are going to a judge's decision. Almost flung out of the arena. I almost jinxed it right there. And we are going to a judge's decision. What an absolutely amazing fight right there. Non-stop action by both robots. It seemed like Serpiente had that aggression tally though. It kept driving forward. It did not stop. Serpiente was playing more of the tactical fight, trying to counter, to get around the sides of Serpiente, and it worked out some of the times, but also half the time Sharkbait was sent flying because of that. Right there, you can see giving up the side to Serpiente is not what you want to do in a fight. A lot of shots were done by Serpiente, so I don't know. This is a close decision in my opinion. I'm very curious to see what the judges are thinking about this fight, but there was just non-stop action by both robots, sending Sharkbait flying over there. Another one. Look at all the debris coming off of the chassis of Sharkbait. It is just gorgeous to see. Sharkbait tried its best, but I'm saying a lot of good stuff about Serpiente, but I'm not sure. While we wait for the judges to figure out who the heck won this fight, let's take a look at the statistics of this fight. Now in minute number 1, it seemed like Sharkbait had more significant strikes and more strikes. However, Serpiente controlled the amount of flips that it had. In minute number 2, you can see that Sharkbait had more significant strikes again, as well as more strikes. And again, Serpiente had more flips, and this time more pins. And at minute number 3, pretty much the same exact thing happened again. However, Serpiente had 4 significant strikes to Sharkbait's 1. It seems like the moral of this story was Sharkbait was fighting and hitting, and Serpiente was being more aggressive. This should be a very close judge's decision, and I'm getting word that the judge's decision is in, so let's see who won this fight. Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 minutes, we go to the judges' scorecards for their decision. The judges score the contest 30-27, 29-28, and 29-28 for the winner by unanimous decision, Serpiente. Well, if that's not fight of the night, I have no idea what is. Congratulations to Serpiente for winning that fight with a unanimous decision victory. I think the main factor for the judges to pick Serpiente was that it kept driving forward. It never stopped driving forward, and it continued to do damage while it was doing that. Sharkbait unfortunately gave up its side way too much in that fight, which I believe is why the judges leaned in favor of Serpiente. A huge congratulations to Serpiente. I'm excited to see what it's going to fight in the future. And as for Sharkbait, an unfortunate loss. But you know, when you lose, at least you want to go out with style. And I think winning a possible fight of the night is just how you do that. Altogether though, what an amazing fight, and I'm excited to see the future for both robots in that fight. For our co-main event of the evening, we have Airborne taking on Berserker in a matchup that has a huge effect on the top 10 rankings. With a win tonight, either robot can make a run for the championship. Here we go for our co-main event of the evening. This is Airborne taking on Berserker. This fight is going to be interesting. That's all I can say, because look at the fight odds. Huge favorite for Berserker. This robot is expected to win. Fighting out of the red square, we have the favorite, Berserker, who defeated Bloodwork by suicide pretty much. It didn't do anything. Bloodwork lost that fight by itself. Berserker though, now is its time to prove that it deserves to be in this top 10 that it currently is in, but in its way is Airborne. This robot hasn't fought since the Battle of the Rookies, and it's making its official RoboMania League fight debut tonight, and I'm very curious to see how this robot is going to perform. 3, 2, 1, let our co-main event begin. This is Airborne taking on Berserker, a spinner versus a flipper, and almost the flipper gets flipped immediately. Airborne is now trying to get underneath Berserker. Can it do so? gets behind it, and this a huge hit right there. It seems like Airborne is actually in control of this fight right now. The huge underdog looks to be doing somewhat decent currently, and Berserker's just trying to stay lined up, try to get around the sides of Airborne, but Airborne seems to be too fast for it right now. Not something you really hear from Airborne. Airborne isn't the fastest robot, but Berserker is very slow. Both robots are trying to counter each other right now, and Airborne's trying to get underneath, does it again into the wall, and that is a lot of damage being done to that spinning blade of Berserker. Let's see how this pays off in the future, because Airborne, just like that, as I'm saying all this, the whole entirety of the full body flipper, it's gone. It is completely gone, and Airborne is now on fire. The tides have completely turned for this fight, and Berserker is now in control. Sparks, fire. I'm waiting to see smoke, because that's everything we love to see in a fight. Berserker just has to wait out. I don't think Airborne could move right now. I think this fight is currently over. Another huge shot right there, which sends Airborne flying, and part of its chassis ripped off, and more fire is coming out of Airborne. A nasty job done by Berserker, currently doing a ton of damage, where that entirety of that flipper has just completely flown off. And another big shot by Berserker, sending Airborne in the air. And I think this is going to end in a knockout right here. There's the smoke. I was waiting for the smoke this entire time, and there it is. We have a countdown beginning. Airborne flips its way out of it, however. Very interesting to see. Usually that would mean that the fight would be over, but I'm waiting to see if there's any movement done by Airborne besides just a flipper. There's a glitch. That doesn't count. Airborne is now upside down in the corner, and another countdown has begun. I think this is going to be the end of the fight. The wheels are not operating, the flipper is not working, and Berserker has won its third fight in a row. Are you kidding me, Berserker? 3-0 now, and it is 100% being in that top 5. It started out with Airborne actually controlling this fight. For that first 30 seconds, I would say, Airborne was completely, not dominating, but controlling the entirety of the fight. And this was the shot. Goodbye, everything that Airborne ever wanted. Boom. There goes the fire. There's the sparks. And that is where the fight ended, essentially. Some huge shots after that, but Berserker completely controlling that fight and wins by knockout. And just like that, Berserker, winner by KO. It was a little rocky in the beginning of that fight, but it turned everything around, and now you have to think Berserker is going to be in that top 5, right? There's a lot of really good robots in the top 5 currently, so there's going to be some very interesting matchups to see for that robot. Besides nuts and bolts, Berserker is the only overhead spinner in that top 5, if Berserker makes it into the top 5, which I definitely see it happening. And for Airborne, it tried its best in the first minute, and it just lost everything. It lost the entirety of its weapon, which meant everything is exposed. And if everything is exposed, that robot any robot will knock you out, no matter what. We're going to be seeing Airborne falling in the rankings. I'm not sure how much, but it could be pretty significant with that loss, especially being as the ranked 6 currently. Altogether, though, a huge congratulations to Berserker. A very, very fun fight to watch. And that's the first time I could say it. A fun fight by Berserker. Congratulations. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we are here for the main event of the evening. Splatoon will be taking on Sunrise in a matchup that will be sure to excite. For the main event of the evening, 2 vertical spinners clash together. Splatoon and Sunrise will take each other on in a fight that could end in an instant classic. Both robots are 2-0, and with a victory here tonight, either robot will make a huge statement for the rest of the league. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our main event of the evening. We have Splatoon taking on Sunrise in a matchup that has a lot of weight on it. This is two robots that are 2-0 with a slight favorite for Splatoon, but fighting out of the red square, we have Sunrise. This robot had a surprise victory over Blood Rain, and it's riding a crap ton of potential right now and a lot of momentum. Let's see if this robot can keep what it's been doing and win tonight. It will be facing, though, Splatoon. This robot has been looking absolutely insane throughout its career. It's on a 2-fight winning streak, and I don't think this robot can possibly lose any fight in the future. A very big matchup between Splatoon and Sunrise. I am absolutely excited. 3, 2, 1. Let this matchup begin. The main event, Splatoon versus Sunrise. They both lock horns immediately, and it seems like both robots are winning their own wedge battle at the same time. Neither robot can win. They're both low to the ground. But Splatoon may have that driving advantage with the 4 wheels instead of 2 for Sunrise. A first shot is done by Splatoon, getting around to the side of Sunrise, and now hits Sunrise upside down. Wheels and a part has come off of Sunrise, and it seems like this is the time that the fight will truly begin. They lock horns again, and Sunrise, not winning that wedge battle, now it is doing kind of that, getting underneath one of the wedgelets, and Splatoon is getting underneath, hits Sunrise upside down, flips it in the air, and now this, another time, 2 times now, Splatoon has hit Sunrise in the air, flipped it around. That is the first minute done. We have 2 minutes remaining in this fight, and Splatoon seems to be winning this so far with its wedgelets, but now Sunrise underneath Splatoon. Are you kidding me? And one of the wedgelets has been removed of Splatoon, and Sunrise now getting flung in the air, pinned against the wall. A huge shot back and forth right there, but Splatoon getting the better of the shots, and now a countdown has begun. Could this be the end of the fight? 3, 2, 1, and the fight is not over. Splatoon, or Sunrise, somehow gets out of it, and now the fight continues. Splatoon is getting underneath still, but can that change? It just did right there, and Sunrise gets underneath once more. Another wedgelet gone from Splatoon, and now Sunrise is underneath Splatoon, driving it around, pinning it up against the wall. Under a minute left in this fight. And oh my goodness, this is a very evenly matched fight so far in my opinion. And now Splatoon gets flipped upside down. What has happened? Splatoon was winning a majority of those wedge fights, and now Sunrise in this final minute getting underneath Splatoon every time it seems. I think those 2 side wedgelets were the key wedgelets that Splatoon was really worrying about. Now, it just seems like now that they're gone, Sunrise can get underneath whenever it wants, doing it multiple times, just chipping off multiple pieces of Splatoon, a bunch of wheels. They both lock horns, 10 seconds left, and I have no idea who's winning this fight right now. Very evenly matched. Sunrise may be getting underneath, and we are going to another judge's decision. Are you kidding me right now? That was such an even fight. I have no idea who won that fight. It started out with Splatoon just completely dominating Sunrise in that first minute, flipping it over multiple times, just tearing off multiple pieces of Sunrise, pinning it against the wall, always winning that wedge battle, flipping it every time it can, just completely doing its best. Sunrise just could not seem to get underneath Splatoon in that first minute. But everything changed right here, where Sunrise got underneath, took out one of those wedgelets, and I think this is where the rebuttal shot was by Splatoon, sending Sunrise in the air, where I thought this fight was over. While the Sunrise was pinned, falls out of it. Look at that. with 1 second left. Sunrise survived and then dominated the rest of the fight, tearing off the wedgelets and getting underneath Splatoon every moment that it could, just completely chewing off the bottom of Splatoon. I have no idea who won this fight. This is where the fight ended, and we are going to a judge's decision. While we wait for the judges to figure out what happened in this insane fight, let's take a look at the statistics. Now, this was a tale of two tapes, alright? Splatoon completely won that first minute. Minute number 2 was pretty much dead even, not dead even, but it was pretty even on paper. And minute number 3, the exact opposite. Sunrise completely dominated that minute. This is going to come down, in my opinion, to that minute number 2. What happened in that minute number 2? Because there's just so much to look at for this fight, and in my opinion, there's going to be a lot of 10-8s per minute. I have no idea what's going to happen. I'm getting word that the judge's decision is in, so let's see who wins this fight. Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 minutes, we go to the judges' scorecards for their decisions. Judge 1 scores the contest 29-28 for Splatoon. Judge 2 scores the contest 28-27 for Sunrise. And Judge 3 scores the contest 28-27 for the winner by split decision, Sunrise. I did not see that coming at all. At all. In my personal scorecard, I had Splatoon winning by split decision, but I guess that's what split decision means. A huge congratulations to Sunrise for winning that fight. It got rocked in that first minute of the fight, and then, what is that one meme? They had us in the first half. I'm not gonna lie. That's exactly how Sunrise acted during that entirety of the fight. Once getting rocked, came back from almost losing that fight with 1 second left, and won it from there. Now, I honestly think that this is going to be a pretty controversial victory, but we're gonna have to see what happens. Maybe you guys all believe that Sunrise won as well, but personally, I thought Splatoon won that fight. And as for Splatoon, an unfortunate loss. However, you cannot lower your head in shame on that performance because that was such a great fight. It might even give Serpiente and Sharkbait a running for its money on Fight of the Night potential. Now, for Splatoon, it's ranked 12 right now. It is not going to be ranked 12 in the future. It's going to drop. I think it's still going to be staying in the top 15, but we're going to have to see. But for Sunrise, expect a huge climb in the rankings. Altogether, though, what a fight, what a comeback, and what an amazing performance by both robots. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I know you have been waiting for this. This is our main event of RoboMania 8. This is Garuda versus Gallo. The 1 and 2 seed will be coming together for the title eliminator, which the winner will be facing the Doctor for RoboMania 10. I am very interested to see what's going to happen in this fight. I am assuming that Gallo is going to be a favorite just because vertical versus horizontal, the verticals usually win. But never count out Garuda because that robot is absolutely amazing and powerful at the same time. You can be sure that the Doctor will be watching this matchup very closely because this fight is going to be very important to see who's going to be fighting for the next championship. And ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of RoboMania 7 featuring Splatoon versus Sunrise. I put a lot of work into editing, making, and everything that is involved in creating this video. It would mean a lot to me if you guys would throw down a like, comment, and subscribe. It would mean the absolute world to me to see. This channel is rapidly growing and I'm absolutely excited about it. I'm excited about the future of this channel, and there is going to be a lot more content coming up in the future of this channel as well. Other than that though, guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of RoboMania 7. Other than that, I will see you all in a later episode of RoboMania.